Well, hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? What a blessing it is to have you. I'm Anthony Murray. I'm your host today. Welcome to Financial Sense. Man, we have a lot in store for y'all. We just have a lot in store. Y'all gonna be blessed. You're gonna be, I'm telling you, you are going to be blessed. Oh, I'm almost lost for words. We have some very special guests. All right. And we have one that's going to try to pop in a little later. And listen how dedicated these folks are, man. She's in the process of moving and she's still going to try to pop in. Well, listen, this month is Financial Literacy Month. You may not have known that, but I'm telling you now, it's Financial Literacy Month. And what do we do with Financial Literacy Month? Well, we educate people about money, about financial matters. Hey, this is a very important topic. I want you to do something. I want you to get your little rusty, dusty, toasted phone out, right? And let somebody know. Let your neighbor know. Let your friend know. Let your pastor know. Let your teacher know. Let your enemy know. Let your neighbor know. Let your dog know. The cat know. You got mice? Let the mice know. You got a rat? Let the rat know. Tell the squirrel in the backyard. Hey, it's time for Financial Sense. We have a lot in store. We are going to talk about something very important. Blessings, Stephen. I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate you, man. We're going to talk about the risk of not having proper protection. Proper protection. Very important. Very important. I have too many friends, too many family members that have passed on and they did not have proper protection or they actually had no protection. And then the family members used GoFundMe or Cash App, whatever they can use to try to raise money. All right, so they could have a decent burial for that family member. Well, listen, I'm going to bring in a couple of folks that's going to help me discuss this. Miss Angeles Wills and Mr. Fred Campbell. They're going to come in. And Fred, you coming in? Fred, you not coming in? Fred. Well, Angelique's coming in. Angelique, how you doing?
Hello. Thank you so much, Mr. Murray, Pastor Murray, for inviting me to be a guest today. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Hey, how are you doing?
I am doing very well. Thank you for asking.
No, Fred wrong. He think he's going to get away with this. He better go somewhere and sit down so he can get in on this.
Is Fred going to join us this morning?
Hey, you know what? Wait a minute. I think he's going to do a slight cameo.
Yeah, I'll give y'all a cameo here in a few minutes. I'll let her get started, and that way I'll get somewhere and get still in just a minute.
Sounds good. Hey, listen, this is a very hot topic. This is very important. Very important. I just had a friend, not this Sunday before last, passed away. I don't know how much coverage they had. What I do know, or I don't even know if they had coverage, but I do know this, that they had to do a GoFundMe. I mean, not a GoFundMe, a Cash App type thing to garner enough money so they can have something decent. You know, this is very important. A lot of people take it for granted. Now, you and I are in the same organization, World Financial Group, World System Builder, WFG/WSB.
Yes.
All right. And the reason I wanted you to talk with us this morning is because, like myself, you're out in the field and you're talking to people. And you've been in the business for how long?
I have been in the business now for a year and a half.
A year and a half?
Yes, a year and a half. And actually, I could just introduce myself real quick, actually.
No, you can't. Of course you can, girl. Go ahead. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us what brought you into the business.
Definitely. So, yes, just to introduce myself, I am Angelise Wills. I have been in this awesome business for a little over a year. I'm going to say about a year and a half now, coming up on a year and a half. I am a single parent of two beautiful children. My son is 15 and my daughter is, she just turned 24.
Wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, just to tell you now, my background's actually in the medical field. Okay. So I worked in the medical field for about 11 years.
Were you a nurse or
administrative assistant? So I was like that first person.
Okay.
People come in when they see, I was that person to greet them. And my job was to make them feel like they were the only one, which I truly, truly loved. Okay. Love meeting people and being able to help people. That was what I wanted to do. Just working though in that business or in that field, I did receive a raise for about 7 years. So I really
did not.
Did not.
Wait a minute. Let me stop right there. You're in that field. Were you working with the same company?
So let me tell you. So I work for a hospital system. And we actually had some contractors come in and their job was to save the hospital some money. So they decided to kind of let go of a lot of people. And those that stayed, our job was really just to kind of take on some more tasks, some more roles, and just kind of be happy that we were able to keep our job. So I was definitely grateful to keep my job and didn't mind taking on those roles. Just didn't realize I would be doing that without any additional pay.
Okay.
Which was fine. But honestly, I tell you that, I stayed in that job because it was easy. It was comfortable. I was complacent. I had small children at the time, which I think a lot of people can probably relate to. Sometimes we stay in a position just out of a matter of convenience and complacity. And that's what I needed to do at the time. But as my children grew up, I realized that, I do need, I have goals. I have things that I'm trying to accomplish. So I wanted to be able to give myself a chance to make some more income. And that's what I did. I heard about this awesome company. They shared this presentation with me. And honestly, just learning about this business, about the different things that we're able to do, the different people that we're able to help. We don't only do life insurance, but we also are building people. We're also helping people with their 401ks. They're able to roll those over from an old job or an old employer. So there's a lot of different services that we are able to offer. And I love being able to help people with that.
Awesome. So now let me ask you, let's talk a little bit about two things. One, you were on a job that became almost like a dead end. There is no cost of living increase at all. Now, in relation to our topic, the risk of not having proper protection, because of that, was your protection, were you able to buy protection outside of your job? Was it affordable to you at the moment?
So, when I left my job, I did have insurance on the job and I really didn't think things through. I left my job and I had no protection in place when I left. No health insurance, no life insurance. So we were definitely without protection outside of what I had with my job. But coming in here, I actually learned about the importance of having the proper protection in place. And I can honestly say that I was able to get my family starting off with about $300,000 of life insurance protection so that now I don't feel, what I felt before, where I was just like,
right.
What am I going to do?
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. Hey, Selma, how you doing, girl?
I'm good.
Man, oh man, I'm so glad. Now, this is the young lady I was telling y'all about. She's in the process of moving. Yes. And where are you moving to anyway?
Well, I'm coming back to, I'm going to transition. What I'm going to do is my base is still going to be Atlanta, but I'm going to be traveling through various areas where my family is. So next week, I'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina, visiting my grandson. So while I'm in
Mhm.
Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm going to prospect and I'm going to build in Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right. So now you currently live in Atlanta area?
I'm in the Atlanta area. That's going to be my base. But for the next 3 months, because I made the decisions that I made, I'm just going to build in certain areas that I have people that my daughter is in Charlotte, North Carolina. She's one of my team members. My cousin's in Florida. She's one of my team members. I have a lot of family and connections back home in Savannah, Chatham County, Liberty County area. So I'm going to take the next 90 days from my transition to really build and educate people, to make my connections back in my old community and with people that I know there. So that's the goal for me. That's what I'm going to be doing for next. So my home base is still going to be Atlanta. But what I've done was I've decided to downsize completely. And I decided to use my friends and family to say, hey, I got an extra room. You know, they always want me to come visit. So I took the opportunity. So let me just use your extra room and let me build my business where you are. Let me talk to the people that you know. So that's what I'm going to do.
Let's back up a minute. Let's back up. You're in the process of moving. So let's go back even further. Let's talk about your background. Our topic today is the risk of not having proper protection. All right. All right. So let's talk about what's your background? What's your professional background, first of all?
Well, let me start with my most recent professional background. I've always been in some type of sales job, but my most recent, since 2011, I actually used to be an account executive for a company called Airgas. And we sold protective gases and proper protection. We sold the vests that you wear, the hard hats. So all the PPE that you wear at your current employer, we supply companies with all that throughout the country. So that was my background. So I am a sales, and I'm an account manager through and through and through. So once I get that account, that's my account. For whatever that account needs, I nurture it. Whatever it doesn't have, I give it. And I also find business in those accounts, and I grow the business. So fast forward to what I do now. I'm still in the male dominant industry. I work for an appliance sales company. I'm an independent contractor for a high-end brand called Viking. And what I do is I sell really expensive parts for this company.
All right. What type of company is it?
It's a high-end appliance companies. It's the
appliance. Okay. So you sell appliance parts.
I sell high-end appliance parts. It's different.
Oh, not just appliance parts. High-end. Excuse me. Yeah. High-end.
I'm selling to the customer that's buying a $40,000 range and a $20,000 refrigerator. So that their appliance package is $100,000. Those are my clients.
All right.
That I service. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now, how did you end up in the finance industry?
Well, I used to be with a competitor back in 2006.
Really? Who were you with?
I was with Primerica.
No, let me stop. All joking aside, guess what? A lot of people have started out with Primerica. Prior to Primerica becoming Primerica, they were A.L. Williams.
Right. Yes.
All right. Well, I used to be with A.L. Williams.
Wow.
Long time ago. That was a long time ago. Matter of fact, I was with A.L. Williams when Coach was with A.L. Williams.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
But everybody came from A.L. Williams. It's just
we didn't know each other. You know, I stayed with them for 6 months. I was on a temporary license. I stayed with them for 6 months, and then I left them. Now I had a permanent license with Mutual of Omaha.
Okay.
So with Mutual of Omaha, I focused with disability insurance, hospital insurance, and life insurance. Disability and hospital was my primary focus. Long-term care wasn't even thought about then. And you know what? We didn't educate people.
Right.
We didn't educate people. So this topic today is extremely important because what a lot of people don't realize is that most people are going to outlive their retirement savings.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
And if they outlive their retirement savings, most people are going to not have enough protection, which means that when they transition in life, their children, their family members are going to be left with some debt.
Correct.
All right. So in this arena of finance, and I look at you two young ladies who are extremely polished and professional, both coming from some very different backgrounds.
Right.
All right. And then both of you have like a little flavor with public speaking. With public, and then now, Selma, you're going to travel and do public speaking engagements. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm gonna. That is one of part of my plan to actually connect back with people, so I can actually speak to the public or speak to the school or speak to whomever, within the public speaking arena for just different various things. So because that's one of the gifts that I have, and I know that's my gift. So that's, I'm going to dig into that, but it's going to be mainly the financial spectrum. But I'm sure it's going to be other things as well that I'll be doing.
But tell us about your family. How big is your family? You have 5 kids, 7 kids, 1 child? What you have?
No.
20 children? How many children?
I have 2. I was smart enough to stop at 2. I got the boy, then I got the girl.
How old are they?
My son will be 33 this year.
Wow.
My daughter will be 29 next month.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, see, now I have 3. I'm a little older than both of you. I'm a little older.
Grandson. Oh my God.
How many grandchildren? How old's your grandchild?
He's 9 months old. I adore him so much. So I'm a new grandma. I'm just so in love with that kid.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. But I come from a family. I have a huge family, actually. My mom, my grandmother comes from a family of at least 9 siblings.
Wow.
Or more. That's all I know of. And each one of the siblings had 8 or more kids. My direct, I have 7 uncles and 1 aunt. So my grandmother has 9 living kids. So she had 1 that died when they were young. But my lineage is so huge. I believe that I actually have more than 100 first cousins.
Wow.
And
that's a lot of people.
Yeah. And my son, my grandson that was just born, he already had 30 first cousins that I know of.
That is, I'm glad you know of.
That I know of.
Listen,
a lot of us.
You got a lot of work in front of you. You have a lot of work.
And let me tell you my story. That's my mom's side of the family. That's not my aunt, my dad's side of the family. And I grew up in my cousin's side of the family. So I grew up with 3 grandmothers. So they consider me all family, like cousins. So it's like I have 3 different types of families that I am a part of. So that's when I say when I'm going to be traveling for the next 90 days, I'm really just going to be promoting and letting people know what I'm going to be doing. As a matter of fact, my aunt has a daycare in her home, and she does nothing but school teachers. She retired, and she does school teachers, and she's been doing daycare of her own since she was in her 50s. She's now 70-something years old.
Oh, wait a minute. She has a daycare at home?
Yes.
And she does, did you say school teachers? What do you mean?
She's a retired school teacher. So all of her clients come from the school system and the military base.
Okay, all right. So all the children that she's watching are from school teachers or military personnel.
Yes.
I got you. For a moment, I thought you said she, because now they have adult daycare centers.
No, she's too brash for that.
They have adult. So listen, I like to introduce this other young man that's with us. His name's Fred Campbell, my brother. My brother, he was with us.
Hey,
You know, how long you going to be with us, man? Are you going to cut out early? You going to be here?
nah, Pastor, I'm gonna drop a few words on y'all real quick. I might be in and out for a little bit of this, but I'm gonna say a few words to see if I can give y'all a little good info for for a few minutes.
Go right ahead.
I appreciate the intro. So I am Fred Campbell. How's everybody doing, Pastor? Thank you for having me again. Second time on the show.
Absolutely.
Quick rundown on who I am, where I'm from. I've been living in Atlanta about 9 years now. I'm actually originally from Texas. I have 3 kids, was married, got divorced, kids still around. That's where most of my time and money goes. And that's where most of my time and money goes. I have a few jobs. I have my own business, and I work with the Selman Angeles and you, of course. So yeah, that's about it. I do a bunch. As I ramble, I'm sure y'all pick up on a bunch of things.
You got a whole bunch of stuff going on, but your business is really powerful. Now, let's talk about that in a moment. You see, people don't understand having proper protection is not just to bury you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Having proper protection means that you're leaving a legacy, not just for your children, but prayerfully for your children and your grandchildren. So all the bills are paid. When you have proper protection, your bills are going to be paid off. So your family's not stressing out, because guess what? Lenders these days, creditors, they don't lose that money anymore. They come after the family. All right. So it's important to have proper protection so you can have that legacy. Now, one of the things that's stopping people from having that legacy is that their credit is messed up, or they don't know how to start a business properly. That's where Fred comes in. Fred, talk to us.
All right, so yeah, you hit it right on the head. A lot of us do business, and a lot of us have been doing business on our own accord, which is great. You know, be an entrepreneur, make your own money, and pay yourself. But when you do it, as you spoke, you want to properly protect yourself, and one of the best way to properly protect yourself is to operate under your company and not yourself. And an LLC.
Talk about that for a minute. What you mean operate under your company?
So here it is. You can, for instance, I can do business as Fred Campbell all day, every day. I can file loans. I can make risky business moves. I can do anything I want. But when I go get an LLC, a limited liability company, that is exactly what the name is. It limits the liability of your person. And you can go, I could go right now and apply, put money down on a building and apply to get a brick and mortar for my business. And it might look great. I might get it, but they're also going to look at, and this is just for the sake of an example, they're also going to look at the credit on my personal name, my credit utilization, everything that my name encompasses. When you operate under your LLC, it is its own entity. You get an LLC, you get an EIN, which is an employee identification number, and it's pretty much a social security number for a business. It's what lets your business stand alone as its own entity. So it takes you out of the equation. So you don't take as much of a risk. They give businesses a lot more money than they give people. They give them a lot more credit, a lot more leeway, a lot more everything. And in business, you make big moves, you take risks. And just for an example, say you go get $1 million line of credit or loan for your business to function and whatnot. And if something goes south and you can't pay it back, you can bankrupt your business. You can't pay your bills, you can file for bankruptcy. If you don't have an LLC, you are liable for every bit of that. Oh, wow. And you can only be held responsible for what your business owns. So say I'm doing business with Selma and something goes wrong and Selma wants to sue me. If I'm operating as my person, she can sue Fred Campbell for everything I have, my cars, my house, my anything. But if you're operating under your limited liability company, the only thing they can sue you for is what that company owns, the assets of the company. And that's just one aspect of it. But just to come in the door explaining why you want to be, prepared with the company.
Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
that's powerful. That's powerful. So let's go to this risk of not having proper protection, because that really covers a lot what you just said. You know, you can actually, if you're a business owner, you can actually get what they called what is called an executive bonus. You can actually get key employee insurance, or
Mm-hmm.
or insurance for those key employees, so that if something happens to them, all right, and this all comes under proper protection. So something
Mm-hmm.
happens to that person, they pass away all of a sudden, man, that key employee, here again, key employee, all right, did a
Mm-hmm.
lot for your business. All right. Now you have insurance on them. That insurance money is going to step in
Yeah.
for your
Mm-hmm.
business until you could find a replacement for that key
Right.
employee. So there's a lot of different areas. It's just not having life insurance on yourself and for your
Right.
family. When you want to uh, uh, create a legacy, all right, you have to make sure, especially if you're a business owner, you have to make sure you do what Fred was saying, that
Mm-hmm.
LLC. You have to make sure
And
you do what Selma was saying. Go ahead, Fred.
yeah, let me jump in real quick with that. And also how you spoke on key person insurance. I have to look in the
Yeah,
ins and out, but if you're doing business just as your own name, I'm not so sure you could get key person insurance because you wouldn't actually be a company yet. But it's just another thing that having an LLC, a corporation, or a business on paper gives you access or benefit to, because it would just be a lot easier to be recognized as a key employee when you
sure.
have someone that you're employed by.
Right. Or yeah, you have an employee with you. They're working with you, of course. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Hey, Angelise, talk to us about this financial foundation that we were going to discuss earlier. People aren't going to be able to see, but you could talk about it so they can get a general idea. I call it the pyramid. All right.
Definitely.
There's
Pyramid, or it's sometimes they say it's like building a house,
Mhm.
and they talk about being able to build that house from the ground up. And really what it starts with is that foundation is having the proper protection in place. Okay. And that's really so much in the event that something were to happen to you maybe you became disabled, or maybe you died too soon. You have protection in place, that way your family is still able to continue on without the income. And I'm actually going
Mhm.
to give you an example real quick. I met with a young lady yesterday, and she was speaking about, her and her spouse, they had insurance protection in place, but for some reason they let the insurance lapse, right?
Oh, oh,
Yes,
okay.
it lapsed. And her husband, he just turned 50 years old, but he had a stroke.
Mm,
So she said that she could just kick herself for letting that lapse, because now, they didn't have the proper protection in place. They're struggling financially to keep things going. And so that's just an example of what happens, or what could happen, if you don't have that proper protection in place. So I just wanted to share that with you. But even sometimes people like to, we talk about, having that protection in place, then getting your debt managed, because there's something called the debt disease that
mm.
really hinders you in life. If you have a lot of debt, you're not able to kind of move the way you want to move. It's very stressful for people. So really, after you have that protection in place, getting your debt managed, having an emergency fund in place is really important. They say at least 3 to 6 months of having an emergency fund, because we all know that life happens, right? Life continues to happen. There's, we can get laid off, we can get a flat tire, anything could happen. So when we have that proper emergency fund in place, then we're able to just utilize the funds and not dig ourselves in a bigger hole.
All right, let's back up a minute. Selma, hey,
Yes.
I need you to jump in and talk a little bit about debt management.
Debt management. What we show you how to become financially independent. And what debt management means is having control of your debt. knowing where your money is going, knowing who you're paying, what interest rate, what card has the most interest rate, what could be paid off sooner. So what we teach in that, we teach that you can take a small amount of money, not a lot of money, and add it to what you already have in place, and just build upon that, paying just a little bit extra, and to come out of debt sooner. A lot of people don't realize when you get a mortgage and you have a 30-year mortgage, the insurance company is making at least $200,000 to $300,000 extra for having that mortgage the entire time. But if you have control of your debt and you learn how to pay those things off sooner, it could save you 17 years or more, just not owing the extra. And then that's how you start to build your proper foundation. That's how you start to build your wealth. That's how you start to taking that money and putting it in other places, investing in your kids' college, investing in your retirement for your future, just doing other things with that.
Wow. And now you said something earlier. You said something about debt management. And I was trying to remember the exact way that you said it. Let me say this, what's in my head right now. All right. Let me make sure it's still there. Yeah, it's still there. All right. So with debt management, the problem that I see more than anything else with debt management, there goes your legacy out the window.
Absolutely.
The financial legacy. You know, we want our children, the next generation, to be able to start and be able to start and not struggle.
Right.
Exactly. Give them a head start in life, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Hey,
I was gonna
teach them.
Yeah, you know, so many of us start life, especially being Black. A lot of us start life with a leg, you know, just a little bit behind in the race. And you want to give your kids a leg up in life, period. And I think all of that comes with proper protection, you know, just covering the risk. And just like, for instance, current events. How many times do we see celebrities, movie stars, whoever, people we know in the news, and you see they passed and you see their family having to fight for their estate. You see them having to go to court for years and years to deal with whatever, whether it be land, money, I mean, their estate, everything that's included in your estate.
Yeah.
And
I think
every one of those problems can be fixed with proper protection.
Absolutely.
You know,
That's
if
right.
you have what you want your stuff to be done with in the will, if you have life insurance in place so that your beneficiaries and your kids get it, there's no struggle. There's no taking short deals so that you can still have access to whatever it is you want. There's no selling the land off, you know, you were properly protected, and all that goes hand in hand, you know.
Yeah. So you not only need, hey, look, if you could afford to get a trust, get a trust.
Yeah.
All right. If you can't afford to get a trust, at least get a will. At least you can get a will free. Matter of fact, everyone watching this show today in the USA, I will give you a free will if you don't have a will. All right. Now, we do have guests on that's watching actually from Kenya today. Wayne Makhulo, if I'm saying your name right. Hey, Wayne, if I messed up your name, please forgive me. But it's such an honor to have you. And Stephen Nisbet from, I'm not sure where Stephen's from. Steve, if you're still watching, where are you from? The name sounds familiar. I'm not sure if he's from Connecticut or he's from Georgia. But listen, this is critical stuff. All right, we think about proper protection. We only think about insurance.
Right.
We don't think about the will, the trust, making sure our business is registered. All right, making sure that we get rid of the debt. All right, because listen, all right, Stephen's in Rankin, Georgia, brother. You know, I'm right here in Rankin too. I'm right here in Rankin. Listen, if we don't have the proper protection, if we don't have a plan for proper protection, then we have failed our legacy. All right, listen to me. You have to have a plan. Even for your family, you have to have a plan. A plan for your family to succeed. If you don't have a plan, you can't plant a vision. Families need vision. If there's no vision, there's no plan. If there's no plan, there's no vision. I love what I heard Selma say around a week ago, I think it was. Man, this lady was on fire. We have a 9 o'clock meeting every morning on the phone, via telephone. And this lady got me fired up. I mean, fired up, right? She got me fired up because she said that she was getting ready to fire her boss and then work in this industry full time. All right. Now listen, that's bold. That's bold. But when you have a vision in mind, you take bold steps. You make bold moves. And when you do that, you cannot expect people to understand.
No.
You have to be the one that understands. You have to be the one. All right, now, so Angelise, what's at the top of that? Because a lot of people kind of mix that pyramid up. I know you said proper protection. You said debt management. Then you kind of jumped real quick into the next one, but you left one off.
Funds and then
emergency funding. All right. And this really is called a financial foundation. This is one of the workshops that we teach. We teach people how to manage the money, how to get out of debt, how to build a legacy. You want to make sure that you do things in order. Don't do what a lot of people do. They have a little extra money. You know what they do? What do they do? They invest it. Yeah. No, don't do that. You have a little extra money, get rid of that debt. The United States media teaches people how to get in debt. How unfortunate. All right. The United States teaches people how to get in debt. Television teach people how to get in debt. Teach people how to spend. And then the next thing you know, when an emergency comes up, they've already spent that emergency money.
Right. Because
they wanted that shirt, or they wanted that dress, or they wanted to go on that whatever, that excursion. They use that emergency money for that. So they're not using it for the right thing. Hey, listen, I love this conversation. We're running out of time. We got around 15 minutes left. So just talk to me. Selma, you're going to focus in on what now? Because you're jumping out into the deep. You're going to focus in on what?
I'm going to focus on rebuilding relationships that I once had. I'm going to focus on every conversation that I have is going to be something about what we need in our community. I'm going to focus on out in the community and talking to people about financial education, financial literacy, proper protection. And it doesn't have to be, everybody doesn't need insurance, right? It could be, I need to know where I need to retire. It could be, I need to know, I need a personal financial strategy to look at my house. I need to see what I actually look like on paper. And you build upon that. But my goal is to get out in front of people and educate people, educate children, educate parents, educate the elderly, educate families about the financial literacy program, and see if we can actually change the trajectory of our future and our wealth.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Sound like a true politician. No, I'm only playing with you. I'm only playing. Did she sound political for a moment? I'll be honest.
I've been very successful at selling people things that I've never met, I've never seen at all. So I build relationships with people over the phone, and I can get them to buy $3,000-$4,000 at a time or more, depends on what they need. So when you speak with the level of confidence, you know what you're talking about, people are more prone to listen to you because you have that conviction and you have that passion. So if you're not convicted about a situation, then guess what? Nobody's going to hear you. Nobody's going to want to listen to you. Nobody's going to listen to your podcast. Nobody's going to want to hear the information that you have. So when I spoke to you guys and I talked about here's what I'm going to do, I really stepped up into my boldness to do that. And sometimes people like you, they want to cover you. But once you believe in something and you go for something and you uncover yourself and you uncover your gifts, I'm just looking forward to the explosion that's going to happen and what we're going to do and how many people I can connect to. So if I sound like a politician, hey, maybe I need to run.
It's all right.
Today.
Politic. I'll jump in real quick too, since Pastor wants to just talk for a little bit. I'll kind of touch on what's been my topic of the week as far as my business goes. And it's protecting yourself and your company. And I'm not sure if y'all ever heard of a holding, but a holding company is nothing but a company. So for the sake of an example, I'll explain what and just why you should have a holding company, or what they're for. So say we have business A, right? You have Pastor, say you have business A. And it's your business that you do your daily operations through. So we'll just call it LLC-A for the sake of an example.
All right.
And you also own LLC-B, and you also own LLC-C, which is the holding company.
Okay.
If you're doing your daily operations through A, say you pay B for your brick and mortar building.
Mm-hmm.
So your original business does not own your place of business. And your place of business has no operations in your daily functions.
Okay. You might
Your company C, is the holding company.
Place.
Okay.
Oh, I thought somebody was saying. Yeah, your third company, which is going to be C, is going to be your holding company. Your holding company is going to be where you store all your assets. And it's going to be where you put your income from your original company. So the purpose of this is everybody still with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Go right ahead.
Three companies. One's the holding. One you do your daily operations to, and that one pays rent to company B. Now you own all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
But now say somebody comes for company A. Say you do business wrong and somebody wants to sue you. You can sue company A, but you can only get them from what they're worth. You couldn't take their building because company B owns the building and A pays B for the rent. Meanwhile, you still own all three though. Mm-hmm. Now, company C, which is the holding company, stores everyone's assets, whether it be your stock, your shares of your company, bulk income that you're making, company cars, anything of value is going to be held by C, the holding company and the assets. So, and that company does no operations. There's no business being done through that. So somebody could even sue B. You could have somebody walk into your building and slip and fall. Now you could sue for that entire building, but you couldn't come for the operations going on in company A because those aren't the same. And you wouldn't be able to sue company C, which is the holding company, because there's no operations being ran through that.
All right.
So I know that was kind of a lot. I should have had a piece of paper to draw that on, but everybody kind of catching the grasp of that.
I'm following you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and all you're doing is spreading out your liability. You're like, if someone sues you for the business you're doing, they can't take everything you got. And I say all this to say, if you never have an LLC, you would be liable for everything if something were to go south.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, when you might hear people say, oh, such and such filed for bankruptcy. Filing for bankruptcy does not mean you're broke at all. It means you're not bringing in enough income to pay your current bills and everything it takes to function your business. Now, it's not recommended, but you can do that with a business. But that's a big problem if you do it on your personal.
Okay. Hey, Angeles, talk a little bit about the emergency fund. That's the area you didn't really touch on that, but talk about that.
So yes, just to go over the emergency fund, that's really just you having enough money set aside so that you don't, put yourself further in debt. Like I said earlier, life is continuously happening. Things are always happening around us. Washing machine breaks down, we get a flat tire. Anything happens. But just having ourselves set up so that in the event that something does happen, or when it does, then we have some money that we already have in place that we can utilize to keep ourselves going. So
Yeah.
really now, also, I was going to mention, you know, to get that emergency fund in place, we need to be able to pay ourselves first. You know, when we get paid, we're constantly paying this bill and that bill and doing this, but do we pay ourselves? You know, how much are we worth? So really just important to be able to pay ourselves first, no matter what it is. You know, if it's $50, $100, whatever we can pay ourselves just to put something away and be able to build up our own emergency fund is very, very important.
Yeah, I believe that falls right into line with what Fred was talking about. Being able to have that structure and knowing what you're doing. And that's the key. So a lot of people don't know that. Now, I have a buddy of mine that I was talking to around 3 weeks ago, and he told me he was getting ready to start a holding company, and he didn't know how much it cost or anything like that. I don't even know that much. I don't know that much about holding companies, so I didn't then. So I had to look it up, and I said, "Oh yeah, I remember this. I did study it years ago in college, but that was way back in the late year." And so way back in the 70s, late 70s and early 80s is when I was in college. And so, yeah, before you all were born. And and so I didn't know what was required and what the value is. But Fred hit it just now. Fred hit it. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we find a lot of people of color that own businesses, owners, or that have developed holding companies. Fred, you help people develop these types of things.
I do,
right?
On a daily basis. We are putting more business owners, Black business owners, people of color into the world every day.
All right, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get together with you so you can help me put together this holding company. You know, I need to do a LLC. Someone was telling me, one of my friends, she's also with WSB. She is a CPA, and she told me, she said, Anthony, you need to go ahead, open up a separate account, and do a LLC for your business quick and in a hurry. And I said, oh, sucky now. So
yeah,
that information I heard from not only her, but then from our Green Jacket in Savannah. Okay. And so they said the same thing. Hey, LLC, you know, very, very important if you want your business to be successful. You have to have a plan. I was talking with somebody, man, I'm taking up too much time. I was talking with somebody the other day, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm gonna let y'all talk in a minute. Give me 1 minute. I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, you know what? If you have a business, you need a plan. I don't care how small your business is. You need a business plan. So you'll have some direction for your business plan. Now, I know we are licensed with WFG, WSB, but how many of us really have a business plan, even though we are licensed under them? We should have a business plan that's attached to what WSB and WSG suggest that we do, because they already have something in place, right? That per se is the business plan that we can follow, but have we written it down for ourselves? So, hey, listen, guys, last comments, last words, talk to me. Anybody? Selma, give me your vision. What type of topics are you going to talk about when you go out and hit that road?
I'm going to talk about the fact that people were using GoFundMe as a cloud to pay for their families' funerals. and pay for the legacy of the children and set up college funds for kids that, because the parents die suddenly. I'm going to talk about how we are fighting over property and the will. You know, even if you have a will, you still have to go to the courts. But it's important to get the trust in place. That way you take the courts out of your equation. You're not paying lawyers for nothing because you've already done that, right? I'm going to talk about retiring too early. You retire too early, you're missing most of the money that you worked so hard for. So I'm going to talk about just a lot of things that we have not learned in our community. And I'm just going to start with there. But I'm going to also get into the school systems and talk to the city planners and I just got so much to talk about, but I'm going to start there.
All right, I'll keep mine short and sweet.
Well, it sounds. Go right a bit. Wait a minute, Fred. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. Fred,
Go ahead.
He said his is short and sweet.
I'm not going to.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm just going to talk about the importance, because everybody needs something different. So who I talk to about proper protection, they may not need that. They may need a will and trust. You know,
all right.
Who I talk about the retirement, they may not need that. They may need a final expense. They may need to cover the grandkids. You know, so it all depends on because it's an individual thing. We offer so many products, and you have to meet people where they are and the needs that they have at that moment.
Awesome. Fred, go right ahead.
Yeah, short and sweet. Protect yourself and your name and your family's name and your legacy. Get rid of your debt. Find some money to invest and invest your money. Chase your dreams. But like we said, first thing, back to the title, to the subject of the show, is protect yourself first. Once you protect yourself the right way, you can chase whatever you want unapologetically, because you're protected, and so is your assets, your family name, and your legacy. So protect yourself.
I love that.
Find something to chase. Go for it.
Wow. Angelique, talk to me.
Definitely. And just to piggyback off of what they just mentioned, you know, the risk of not having proper protection, what we need to do really is focus too on education. A lot of people in our community are not educated, and they don't understand what having the proper protection means. They don't know the different types of policies, insurance out there. We have people who have money just sitting in the bank. They don't realize that the interest rate at the bank is not very high. Their money's not going to double. They don't know about the rule of 72. So really what we need to do, what I'm actually focusing on, is more education. I'm helping to educate more people, and even starting with our youth, you know, starting like Selma mentioned, talking to our kids in school, talking to their parents. So focusing on just really building on relationships. That's another area that I need to work on, is building relationships and listening to people, just kind of getting a feel, because a lot of people need different things. Everyone needs something different. So just being able to build those relationships, listen to what their needs are, and then see how we can address those needs.
Wow. Hey, I'd like to welcome another guest that we have from Kenya. Dion Mudio. I look, I probably butchered that brother's name, but I want to thank.
We might should let him say it.
I wish I could, but listen, I want to thank you guys for being with us today. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule just to communicate with the people and talk about this area that's so vital and so critical. Proper protection is just not about life insurance. All right. There's so many other areas that we need to focus in on. All right. Hey, listen, guys, our time is up. I want to once again thank you. My name is Anthony Murray with World System Builder, World Financial Group. I'm also the host right here for Financial Sense. I want to thank my very special guests, Angelique Wills, Fred Campbell, and last but not least, Miss Selma Grant. Thank you guys for being with me. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there where you are, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, guys? Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Like this. like this. I 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 like this. Like this. I like this.